Hello there. I am going through my process right now to really internalize some of the great insights that came from the Rich Litvin Intensive in April 2019. It's interesting. I'm back here in sunny Singapore, getting used to the humidity once again, and getting back into the swing of things. And I decided to come on live here because, well, I actually noticed since I got back that there was a certain process that I was looking to go through, which involved me taking in more information. Seeing what other people are doing, seeing how other people are expressing or going through and processing what really took place during 4 days of really just a mental blender, where Rich literally he comes out, he's like, my only job is to mess with your thinking, right? And so, for me, I found myself wanting to show up in a way that kind of reflected two things. One, that showed up in a way that I felt it would be really powerful. And one of the biggest insights for me since the intensive was really to just go out and really just lead my outliers, pioneers, and mavericks. Like there's a lot that's behind there, and that will come up a little bit more in either this video or in other videos. But I found myself getting here and just feeling this urge to show up in a certain way. Not because it's how I authentically felt, not because it's what I really felt would serve, but because it felt like, it was an edge for me, yes, but it also felt that there was a certain way in which I was supposed to present how transformative this experience was. And to be honest, the experience is still going on. I'm still experiencing the Rich Litvin Intensive, even here in Singapore, and that's why I keep coming back. The fact that this thing is still working on me is tremendous. And so what I want to do is to have no agenda and to just talk, stay for as long as you like, leave whenever you want to, skip wherever you need to be. I'm going to be doing the same. This is not a linear conversation. This is just me processing some thoughts, and I love to do it with all of you. And I'll also be working with my coaches to dive in even more fully and turn this into something concrete and tangible for all of you later on. But for now, this is what works for me, and this is where I'm going to go. So I almost called this video showing up versus showing up. Showing up versus showing up. And I think that I'll start there because that feels pretty present to me. And one of the things that came for me through this experience was, just a realization that all I really need to do is to show up in a room. When I'm in the room, something is taking place. There are things about me, there are things that I do, there are things about the way that I choose to show up for myself and for others that is actually quite unique. I'm still at this point, I'm not at that level of mastery of it that I can articulate what it is, but I'm aware of it. I'm like consciously competent in a sense. And I'm going and I'm leaning into that. And what ended up coming up was just this area around this thing that I'm playing with of being able to show up in a room. And I can be like physically present. That's one way of showing up. But then there's the other part of showing up, which is really bringing in all of who you are, showing up fully, showing up for the occasion. And I think that this intensive in particular was something different for me, where it wasn't just physically being in the room, but there was an element there of showing up as I was, showing up with all that I desired, showing up with the standards that I have for myself and the standards that I have with others. It was actually kind of interesting, something that came up that I didn't expect, where the number of people who came up to me and said, either directly or through someone else, that actually it was always directly, that there was something about the way that I was being and the way that I was interacting with them that was calling something forth beyond what they normally would provide. And that was interesting to me because for the most part I was chilling. For the most part I was chilling. And I think the other part was that I was searching. I was searching to, let's see, what was I searching for? What comes to mind is I was searching to be triggered. I actually think that there's a lot of gifts in being triggered. I think there is a lot. For me, a good day. I actually just got done doing a part of my daily routine, which is something that is led by John Wineland about really bringing up your chi energy. And through that, it's really helped me develop and strengthen my nervous system such that when things take place in my world, they don't shock me as much, and allow me to be even deeper with people and deeper with my clients and so forth. And while that's really great, I think that there's an element of me that misses that sensation of feeling alive, feeling scared, feeling excited, feeling that I'm really talking about something dangerous, or I'm showing up in a way that that there's growth in it for me because something's at stake. And I feel like I was searching for that. I actually got really, I want to say really lucky. I try not to say that nowadays just so I can own more of what's going on for me. But I had breakfast with someone on the second day, so the first real morning. And what happened there was that she was asking about the community of Outliers, Pioneers, and Mavericks that I lead. And she was asking about it in a way that, for some reason, I just wasn't able to find the words to be able to connect with her on what was going on. Interestingly enough, I thought I was being incredibly open, incredibly vulnerable, incredibly honest. Like, I'm not someone that typically has to, like, I'm willing to go there. And her response was, I've heard a lot of words, but I'm not really feeling you. And I was like, ugh, I'm not sure what you're looking for. I could feel it as we're having that conversation. The frustration is just like evolving and growing and such within me. And it took me to a place that I didn't expect to go to at all in this intensive, but it was really serving. And really, we just kept diving into why is it important that I'm working with Outliers, Pioneers, and Mavericks? Why is it important that I do the work that I do? And what came up was that I was angry. And it's like in this moment, I'm not feeling that anger, so it's just gonna sound like something, but just like I'll let that be. I'm present right now to a calmness, to a stillness in me, to a groundedness. But at that moment, there was a lot of anger, and I felt all of that kind of like within me, and it gave me a chance to really remember what it was like, what it really feels like to like be triggered, and to feel like, oh, there's something new for me here. There's something new for me here, and that kind of carried all throughout this out. It's so fun. As I'm talking, I can see like my ideas starting to formulate and starting to crystallize. Part of my process is that I need to talk out loud. I can't just write or journal about it. I just need to say it out loud, and then I'm like, okay, now I got it. Let's go. So, the element being triggered was really interesting. We then immediately went back to join the morning session, and in my open, honest state, people were asked, how are you doing this morning? I'm like, well, I'm feeling pretty triggered, and I have a lot of energy, and I don't know what to do with it. And it actually led me to a conversation that showed me something I didn't expect. I got to talk to a woman there that, hold on one second, I need to just take a quick pause here. Hello, Brooke. How are you? Seeing all those O's after Nemo and those two hearts is like lighting me up. It's fantastic to see you here. It's been too long since we last talked. Let's make sure we connect again. So I had a conversation with someone, and I just, it's interesting. So in the context of this here, I'm going to just say it. Like, so what made me angry was that we were talking about my blackness. And what does it mean to feel as an African American, to feel as an outsider, to feel out there? I'm feeling the love. That's what I'm feeling right now. Thank you, Brooke. But to really allow, like, what does that mean for me to? Where's the anger that's around that? And I went, and I think being out here in Singapore has been it's been its own transformational journey, because like this is going somewhere completely different than where I thought it would be, but let's just go with it. Out here in Singapore, I am a black man, and in America, I'm an African American. And to me, those things are different. They're distinct for the reason of it's just how I was raised, and just seeing, like, I have a history from coming from Ghana, West Africa, versus having a history of being a black American. And for some reason, that really kept showing up throughout the intensive, and really just like how I wanted to be with all of that. I got challenged by a number of different people on it, all really powerful black women, and I am thrilled because of that. Because it really, the reason I bring up Singapore is because I feel like I've been able to step more into being a part of the black community through this experience. I think there's just an element of me that's just less afraid that they're going to figure out that I don't know the code. And through these conversations, I'm figuring out that there is no code in a lot of different ways. But I think it also speaks to why I choose to serve the people that I speak. Heyo, Cohen, great seeing you here. And So through that experience, I got a chance to really connect again with some of the things that are coming up that 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 might lay within being angry, righteous anger, and playing with it. And I was fortunate. Rich gave me some advice, which was to just be present, to not have to worry about whether the anger is going to come out or the joy is going to come out or whatever it is, but to just simply be present. I feel like that's how I'm able to show up with you here right now. Something else that came up for me during this intensive that is still working on me is really owning it. And this is it's a shift between it's really owning what it's like to lead Outliers, Pioneers, and Mavericks, and to do that in a way that is simply Nemo. And there's a lot of different things that are coming up with this one. I don't know if I need to actually go ahead and explain it all, because I'm feeling right now as I'm talking out loud, I'm like, okay, I'm getting what I know what that's about. But generally speaking, it's through this intensive, I got a chance to just show up and to hold space for myself and create space for others that really are my tens. I've realized that, yeah, I can coach anyone. That's no longer the issue. That's no longer the place that lights me up, and it's no longer where I feel like my growth is. What really gets me is working with my outliers, my pioneers, my mavericks, the people who are willing to stand up, stand out, and stand for something. And in doing that, it called something of me to try and figure out, well, what do I stand for? What do I really stand for? And the question that kept coming up was, what is the thing that you are willing to die for, that you believe so strongly? What's the truth out there that you need to get out into the world, the message that you want to have out there? And it's interesting right now. I say the message, but it's not the message, because I think a message is something that you can hear and receive, but there's actually like a change in how we operate, right? So what's the new behaviors that you love to see out in the world, or the new mindsets you love to see out in the world that is worth dying for? And I became aware that I haven't been inspired in the way that I truly wish to be inspired, the way that I used to be inspired for a while, at least a year. And two people came to mind in terms of the last two people who truly inspired me. One of them was Emma Gonzalez, who's an activist around gun control in America, and Colin Kaepernick, who is an American football player and who took the knee during the national anthem. And it is hold on one second. Brooke, thank you for that. Pom-poms, Pioneer, Outliers, and Mavericks. Thank you. I'm gonna play with that. That's playing in my mind right now. I can see visuals on that. But yeah, so Emma and Colin Kaepernick were the two people that came to mind. It's like, wow, these people really inspire me right now. And what the reason for that, I think, is that they put their lives and their livelihood at risk for something that they truly believed. They put their lives and their livelihood at risk in a way that was not popular, or was not what the majority really was going for. And I just became so aligned with these kinds of people. They just light me up. These kinds of people it's who I am in some way, shape, or form, and it's when I feel most alive. So I'll be looking for that, and I'll be searching for that as we go along as well. I'm feeling that I'm getting most of what I needed to get from this year. I appreciate you all just being a part of this journey. There's one last thing that I'm going to share, and I'll share it right now because I'm present to it. And I also think that if I share it now once, I'll come back and share it again, and it'll be a little bit more defined and such. It'll be an actual lesson there. But I had a great conversation with Demi, and Demi, I was talking to her about feeling like I'm too much. And she just she's on a mission to help women just really just own their, financial freedom when it comes to money, right? And that's something that she's just fantastic at. And she's also really great at helping people reframe things very quickly, so that it goes from being a status of victimhood to a status of ownership. And I knew something for me was this feeling of being too much, or coming off too much. And there were a lot of things in this intensive that gave me a chance to play out as if like the Nemo from college. Y'all, I'm wild. I love doing things that are just like off the wall, off the beaten path, and like bringing in as many people as possible for the journey. And Demi and I, we got lunch together, and she brought up a really fun reframe. She's like, Nemo, I'm hearing you talk about this too much element. And what if you cared too much? What if you love life too much to let anything less than joy be present? What if you loved people too much to let anything less than true inclusion exist in the world? What if this too muchness is something that if you leaned in, not even leaned in, what if that was your banner? What was that? What if that, and then she took it to this next level, what if that was your filter? What if from now on, you only choose to do things if it is too much? You only choose to be with people if they're being too much, if they have a goal or a mission or something that is too much. And use that, it's either too much or not enough. Yeah, Brooke, standing for too much. Exactly. Thank you for that. And really just, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm playing in, and I'm standing on that. I'm living in that place. And I only need to be 4% more every day. That's my my new way of playing. 4% exponential, so that it compounds upon itself, being 4% more Nemo, 4% more of a leader, 4% bringing 4% more people together, just allowing that to come together each and every day to compound upon itself there, and to really make sure that I am being that stand for people. One thing that I have noticed, that going back to this whole thing around like showing up versus showing up, when I connected with an outlier, a pioneer, or a maverick at this intensive, sparks flew. It was one of those things where within minutes, we were able to get through to levels of depth and levels of insight and levels of breakthroughs that were, to me, felt incredibly powerful. And the reason I say to me is that I can coach anyone. That I'm not worried about. Like I know that I have that within me. But what felt powerful was to be able to take someone who is powerful in and of themselves, and just remind them just how much that is for them. And those people, these outliers, pioneers, mavericks, they create space. They're pushing boundaries. They're letting other people know that it's all right for them to exist. It's all right for them to just be who they are, even if it's not what most other people want, or what most other people feel is acceptable around them, even if it's not what the norm is looking for. And I just felt myself coming to life with that, and just feeling like, really, the thought, I was washing my hands in the bathroom, and the thought came to mind, I can do this for the rest of my life. I can do this for the rest of my life. So now that I know that, I'm going to give myself the gift of just playing with that. I think I wanted to come out here today and just kind of debrief, get some of these thoughts off my mind, so I can get moving into the next part of the journey, which is really just serving these outliers, pioneers, and mavericks, my outliers, pioneers, and mavericks, and to be an outlier, pioneer, and maverick myself, to be all of that, to own it and to claim it, to let you know, like, all right, game on. I'm ready to play. There's a shift that's going on here, and we're going deeper. I'm going deeper. And I'm going to invite all of you to do that with me. But for now, I feel like this video is done. I feel like this expression is done. I want to say thank you for being witness to me as I'm processing it, and thank you for giving me the space to really clear enough to continue moving forward. Today's going to be a great day. Stand for what you believe in. I'll talk to you later. Bye.